All right, hey climbers, and welcome to the first weekly workout video. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a full program to cover about a 60 to 90-minute workout. So this is more going to be a structured exercise rather than progressive training. If you are someone who takes your climbing really seriously and you want to level up, that's more so what I do for personalized coaching. But if you just want to add some structure to your training throughout the week, these weekly workouts are kind of meant for you. So let's go ahead and talk through what to expect in the session today. So first and foremost, we're going to go through a quick warm-up. We're going to do some zone 2 cardio to begin. So this is some nice low intensity cardio. The goal here is to just get our core temperature up so that we're ready to perform in a little bit once we get on the wall. After we do a little bit of cardio, we're going to do some flow yoga, basically just to open up our ranges of motion for the day and make sure that our joints are prepared to handle the intense ranges that we might experience on the wall. After that, we're going to get into our pre-climb training. This is going to be some strength and hypertrophy work, just to again help us build some resilience and tolerance to load in our major joints that we use in climbing. After that, we're going to get into the primary climbing portion of this workout. We're going to start with 5-minute E2MOM Boulders, which is every 2 minutes on the minute. This is basically a way that we structure our work to rest ratios. So E2MOM is a term, or E2MOM or E3MOM, depending on how you're doing it. So an E2MOM means every minute on the minute. So basically you have 1 minute to complete the required work, and then if you finish early, the rest of that minute is rest. So for an E2MOM, here we have climb 1 boulder every 2 minutes. So you want to climb your boulder, and then the rest of that 2 minutes is going to be rest before you jump onto your next boulder at the beginning of the next 2-minute round. After that, we're just going to do 1 round of flash boulders. So this is going to be 1 boulder that's on slab, 1 overhung climb, and then 1 coordination style boulder. If you're unfamiliar with coordination moves in general, this is going to be an amazing way to start to introduce them into your weekly training routine. So if you don't have classic coordination climbs in your gym, this will be a good opportunity for you to learn how to make them up as well. Great opportunity to learn how to grow your skill set. We'll do a short rest, and then after that, we're going to jump into our next section. This session today is going to be golden boulders. Golden boulders are types of boulders that help us build a lot of technical proficiency rather than building crimp strength or max strength in our shoulders or things like that. So these golden boulders are going to be boulders that are at or below our flash grade, and they're going to focus on the technical aspects of climbing rather than the physical aspects of climbing. So we're looking for boulders that are going to be really challenging for us, but not due to the physical components, more so due to the technique required to solve these boulders. So once we find one of these climbs, we're going to look for opportunities to solve it using 3 different methods. This is where we're going to get a lot of technical proficiency gains in our climbing sessions. So the first thing to kind of go through here is like, how do we look for different sequences? A couple different ways we can do this. First is going to be trying the moves dynamically, and then another method is going to be doing them statically. So that's one way that we can kind of diversify our strategy for approaching a boulder. Next up is we can try eliminating holds. So if we are working on a climb that is below flash for us, there should be opportunity for us to eliminate holds to either increase the intensity of the boulder or just add a unique challenge for it. And then the last thing is trying to make up some arbitrary rules. So maybe you can only use certain hands for certain holds or other things like that, but you can always make up arbitrary rules. Like the majority of climbing, it's all kind of arbitrary. So go ahead and try to think of different ways that you can add complexity or add challenge to these boulders, where you're not making it about the physical side of the boulder, more so about the technical proficiency required to complete the boulder. After that, we'll jump into our post-climb training. This is just going to be some quick core to make sure that we're building some resilience and capacity there over the course of multiple weeks. And then we'll also do a slight aerobic cool down. This is optional. Again, it's something that will help you feel a little bit better during the rest of your day and set you up for a little bit better recovery later down the line. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first portion of this, which is going to be our cardio, and then we'll jump into flow yoga. Okay, now that we've warmed up our internal core temperature, it's time to open up our ranges of motion before we get into a little bit more of the higher intensity stuff in our training session. So for flow yoga, we're looking for about 10 to 15 seconds of each of these movements, trying to move through a full range of motion just to open up our ranges for the day. So let's go ahead and try a couple of these out, starting with shoulder rotations, forwards and backwards. Then we'll do some T-spine reaches, then some gunslingers, some split stance side bends, a curtsy lunge, and then an elevated heel squat. So we're focusing on our major joints, which are going to be our elbows, shoulders, hips, and knees and ankles a bit. So let's go ahead and dive into this first flow section. Okay, now that our core temperature is up and our ranges of motion are open for the day, it's time to do a little bit of priming before we hop on the wall. So a couple things that we're going to do here is we're going to do some quarter pull-ups. This is a great way to get our elbow joints prepared to do a lot of pulling in an effective range that we see often on the climbing wall. And then we're going to do some kneeling side planks. This is going to fire up the muscles on the outside of our legs and our hips to make sure that we're able to basically externally rotate and open up our hip to get into some deeper positions. So let's go ahead and fire up those muscles in both our elbows and our hips to get started. After that, we'll go ahead and do some push-ups in a hollow body hold, again, to focus on preparing our shoulder joints and our chest to handle the loads of stabilizing our shoulders when we're up on the wall. And then the hollow body, again, is going to help us warm up and activate our core in a position that we'll see often on overhung terrain. And then after that, we'll do 3 rounds of a 1-arm bar hang. This is going to be an amazing exercise for most climbers to add into their warm-up, as it's going to help challenge all the muscles that stabilize the shoulder. So if we can control these in a environment that's pretty safe and repeatable, and then make sure that we're building capacity over time doing that, we should be in a really great spot to, when we get into awkward positions on the wall, be pretty prepared to handle those awkward positions if we built enough capacity in this controlled environment beforehand. So we'll do 1-arm bar hangs, and then we're going to do Copenhagen planks afterwards to challenge the muscles on the inside of the leg. So we're kind of hitting the hips from both sides, inside of the leg muscles, outside of the leg muscles. We're going to warm up our elbow joints and then make sure that our shoulders are pretty warm, doing a couple things like the 1-arm bar hang and the push-ups. After that, we'll go ahead and jump on the wall. So let's go ahead and knock these out first, and I'll see you on the wall after. Okay, we finished our aerobic warm-up, we opened up our ranges of motion, and then we did some prep work to make sure our body is prepared to handle the forces that we'll see on the wall. So next up, it's time to jump on the wall, and we're going to do our E2MOM session. Again, this is every 2 minutes on the minute, which means you'll have 2 minutes to climb 1 boulder, and the remaining time will be rest. So let's go ahead and knock these out quickly. Okay, that's it for our E2MOM boulders. Now it's time to jump into our 3 flash boulders. Again, we're gonna do 1 slab, 1 overhung, and 1 coordination. So let's go ahead and find those now. Okay, the last of our 3 flash boulders is a coordination sequence. So I'm gonna go ahead and make one up so that you guys can see what this is like, so you can try it on your own as well. So there's a move in coordination that I really love and I want to try here. And I think this pink hold is gonna give us a good opportunity to do it. So the hold that I'm looking for is starting with 2 wide hands on separate holds, coming in to match the rightmost hold in this scenario, and then we're going to use that to kind of jump and coordinate out to go for a double clutch move. So we're basically trying to get the timing down for this coordination move to get our momentum to swing in the right direction and time our jump off of this pink hold to go into whatever holds we decide. So I think I'm just going to keep this start sequence simple here, and we'll likely just need to use these 2 holds for our move. So maybe I'll just go blue hold and a blue foot, something like there, to go up into this hold. Then we'll go pink hold next, no feet through here to make sure that we do this coordination dynamically. And then I think the finish holds that we'll have to go to, I was thinking maybe this one and this one, but with this volume right here, I think I'm gonna have to go to this green one a little bit higher. So we're gonna try to launch off of this pink one here and do a double clutch to left hand to this green here and right hand to that one. And then from there, we're gonna make the finish move, the top green jug, allowing you to place your feet here. So let's go ahead and see how this one goes. Okay, now it's time to get into the golden boulders section of this workout. As a reminder, golden boulders are boulders that are well below your flash and offer a massive technical challenge rather than a physical challenge. So these should be boulders that you can do multiple times over and over and over again, getting technical gains without getting exhausted on them. So these are a great way to build technical proficiency while keeping your overall fatigue low throughout the week so that you can perform at a higher level in the sessions that do matter. But again, we don't need to go to max every single session. There's still a lot of room for growth in sessions at lower intensity. And these golden boulders have to be one of my favorite strategies. That's lower intensity, a slightly higher volume to build that repetition and that proficiency in each of these movements. So this yellow one is gonna be my first one here. I've picked this one because it's a slab boulder. It's gonna have some coordination sequences here that we might be able to modify for multiple attempts. And then also this boulder is around the V2 to V4 range. And so for me as a V10 plus climber, this makes a lot of sense to look for a boulder like this that provides a lot of technical opportunity for me to grow, but isn't gonna be anywhere near my max physical ability. So let's go ahead and try this one out first. All right, so as I demonstrated in those 3 previous attempts, there are multiple ways that we can do this first coordination move up to this hold here. The first method that I did was stepping my left foot through to this volume here to catch that left hand. The next method that I did was a little bit more tricky in terms of landing the coordination, but a lot more secure once you were there, and that was throwing a heel, a right heel, to this start hold as I went up with the left hand there. So not jumping the feet across yet, but instead just jumping a heel up to that start hold. The last method that I did was actually just a hop foot. So from my left foot off this start box here over to this left volume, I just hopped that left foot instead of stepping through or throwing the right heel. So now that we've got all those down, we can reflect on them and try to decide which one was the most efficient or which one might have been the most secure for us to try had this been a flash scenario or a competition event. So with all that said, now let's go ahead and try to wrap this one up. I know for me, the crux sequence is actually matching on this foot here. So I'm gonna take my time, be really delicate across the sequence and see if we can get the top. Okay, time to change up the style a little bit. We're gonna do this blue cave climb. This one is rated V8 to V10, but these holds to me look like they're pretty good and just require a lot of upper body strength, which I have. So for a boulder like this, for me, it's not gonna be at my limit in terms of physical intensity. So this is gonna be one that I can try multiple attempts on because I have the strength and capacity for it, but I'll try different sequences to see if there's room for learning opportunities or room to improve my movement efficiency on a climb like this. So for the first one here, I'm gonna work through this sequence. It looks like it's a no feet kind of campus move through the beginning here, and then we can kick some feet up and down there. There might be an opportunity for a knee bar here too, so I'm going to consider that for one of the sequences as well. And then for the last sequence, I might actually just try to campus the whole thing. It looks like we could campus from start to finish up to this final slit here in the wall using a really cool coordination move that I'll explain once we get there. So let's go ahead and try this one out a couple times and see how it goes. Okay, so we tried a method with the knee bar, and then we tried a method without the knee bar. So let's go ahead and try with no feet now and just campusing this one. We're gonna have to do a slightly different sequence through here so that we can kind of spin and rotate our way up to this hold. And then I'm gonna try a really cool coordination move out to this last one. If you remember from earlier in this workout, I did that coordination move that involved kind of swinging my body back and forth and then matching a hold to jump out far right. We're gonna do something similar here where I'm gonna swing my body that same way, but instead of matching my hands on that left hold, since that'd be pretty hard, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and jump out of position and go for a right hand only to that finish kind of dig out of the wall there. Okay, time for our last golden boulder. I'm gonna bring the difficulty back down a bit to this V2 to V4 range because this yellow one looks like it's gonna provide some opportunity for us to try a few different coordination sequences. Again, this is a great way to build familiarity with different moves and start to build that repetition in if we're able to drop the grade level lower and get a lot of repetitions in. So this one for me, it looks like we'll have our 2 start hands here and then 2 feet up on this volume, then to this hold and then to the finish one. So I'm gonna try this doing a couple different methods. First, I'm gonna try to do this completely static if I can for the most part. And then I'm gonna try jumping with 1 hand up here. And then I might try to go with 2 hands. And then I might even try some sort of paddle move where I'm gonna move off of this one pretty quickly to get to the finish hold. So let's go ahead and just mess around on this boulder for our final golden boulder. Okay, that's it for the climbing session, so it's time to jump into the last exercise of the day. This is going to be our burner, and basically we're going to just fire up our grip a little bit more and also fire up our core. So we're going to try toes to bar if you can, and if you can't do toes to bar, then go ahead and try just some hanging knee tucks. This is one of my favorite exercises because of how applicable it is for climbers. So many scenarios our feet are coming off the wall and we need to kind of drive them back in with accuracy, and so this is going to help us build enough strength and coordination to do those moves effectively on the wall. So now that our session's over, let's go ahead and jump up into this final exercise before we do our aerobic cooldown. Okay, that's it for our workout today. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. As a reminder, these workouts are more so just like organized exercise rather than a super effective stimulus for a certain goal. So if you're a climber who just like loves to climb and needs a little bit more organization to your training, or just like adding some structure to your week in general, that's what these workouts are for. But if you're someone who's really serious about their goals and you want to level up, go ahead and reach out to me to do some one-on-one coaching together. I'd love to write you a plan and help you reach your goals in a much more effective manner. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this workout, be sure to drop some comments and let me know how I can make it more effective for your current goals, and I'll see you in the next one.